What's going on, everybody? Emil here from Bullet Motorsports, and today we have something real near and dear to our hearts. It's our personal shop Skyline. It's a 1994 Nissan Skyline GTS-t with an RB25 mated to a 350Z CD009 6-speed transmission. It's finished in gray with gray interior. It's got 18-inch work VSXXs and a bunch of supporting mods for that 6-cylinder under the hood. If this is something you want to put in your garage, click the link below for a full gallery, including underside shots. And as always, like and subscribe so we can keep putting this face on the screen. Let's get started. Getting started with the exterior, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. And not because it's our own personal shop Skyline, but because it looks really good. This thing turns 31 this year and it looks amazing. All the body lines, panels, and gaps are exactly where they're supposed to be. It does sit on a set of 18-inch work VSXX wheels with tires that have about 70% tread on them. It does have GTR style front grille, headlights, and then the bumper from the Navan body kit is GTR style. I mean, I love these things. You guys know that I love old Japanese cars, and I'm gonna step out of frame so you get a real good look at it with me without me all mucking up the frame. It's these cars that I grew up with. These are the cars that we had on our walls. These are the cars that were in all the option videos and the Initial D video games, all the things that we clamored over when we were 15, 16s coming up in the early aughts. And we love these things. The Skyline is such a legendary name. We know it here in the States as the R33 GTR, but the history of this thing goes as far back as the 70s to 60s even for the original Prince Skylines, or Skyline used to be to Nissan, which was more of their luxury brand. Let me walk back into frame, so you can get this face right back on the screen. And I do want to go over a bunch of other things this car has. It does wear an annex suspension group coilovers. It wears polyurethane bushings all the way throughout. It does have a Z33 diff. This thing is just ready to go for a track day. And we do have some videos of it at the track, and I'm gonna show you some of those right now. Pretty cool, right? So you do know that this thing is capable and it's been put through its chops. So with that being said, let's go inside. Stepping inside, this is maybe the most toned down part of the car. It does wear factory seats that are in immaculate condition. Seat centers show great. The dash is perfect. There's no cracks or any rippling or bubbling. They did replace it with this cool, I don't know what kind of like faux wood thing that they did here for the dash. We do have the original black one. It does wear an awesome personal wood grain steering wheel, which everyone knows the JDM heads love. It does have a factory gauge cluster that shows 201,000 kilometers. Do that math. I'll display it right here on the bottom. It wears a Continental retrofit radio, so it does have USB connectivity. It does have auxiliary in, all the cool stuff. And then it does wear still the factory automatic climate control with the digital quartz clock. This thing wears power windows, power locks, it's got power mirrors, power folding, and power actuated. I mean, it's just a great car. The Continental radio does have phone hookups, so if you're hooked up through Bluetooth or the auxiliary, there's a microphone here on the right, so you can talk while you're driving. Back seats are in immaculate condition. It doesn't even look like anyone sat back there. The previous owner did purchase Nissan Genuine Parts carpets, which look phenomenal. And then, of course, it does have a 6-speed CD009 transmission, so it's a 6-speed instead of a 5, to that RB25, which sounds miraculously. And let's give it a crank so you can hear what it sounds like. Give the ignition key a click, and that Deutschwerks 340 liters per hour fuel pump turns on. Give it a second to get its thing going, and you give it a crank. It fires right up every time, just like that. It's been cold sitting on the turntable for about 3 days now, and it fires up every time. It's just an amazing vehicle. I love it, and it sounds great. Getting started on the driver's side, because this is a right-hand drive car from the other side of the world, so they drive on the other side, and then they also drive on the other side. So their positioning is opposite, and then their positioning of the road is opposite. But we don't do that here. We do left-hand drive. But just talking about this one, on the driver's side, everything is just as proper and polished as the other side that we saw. All the lines are exactly where they're supposed to be. These things are so awesome, and I know you can tell in the excitement in my voice how much I love these freaking cars, man. And like I mentioned previously, it does wear annex suspension group coilovers, has polyurethane bushings throughout, GK Tech short shifter, And then we have some supporting mods for the engine that we're gonna talk about when we get under there. And I mean, these things are just so awesome. And I'm gonna put a couple graphics on the screen. Like some of the brands that this has, Greddy, GFB, Work, Navan. It's just got a whole bunch of cool mods. This is a great car to pick up if you don't want to do so much of the work yourself. You kind of want to get something that's plug and play, turnkey, as we love to say here. And this is exactly that. It's a turnkey Skyline. And that's very rare nowadays, especially considering you don't see a lot of these. But with all that being said, and let's put everything back together, let's go talk about the engine. Coming under the hood, you're met with an R33, and this was Nissan's everything engine in the mid-90s overseas. They put this in everything. All their mid-size, large-size sedans had this as an option, and it is the factory engine in this because this is Nissan's mid-ish size sedan. It does respond well to mods, so this thing does wear a GFB atmospheric blow valve. Deutsch Works 340 liters per hour fuel pump along with injectors. It's got a front mount intercooler, coil rad aluminum radiator along with electric fans. Here, like I said before, it has the annex group suspension coilovers. You have the adjustability right here. This thing was converted to a Z33, so it's a 6-speed instead of a 5-speed. It does have the stock differential, so that may be something that you want to address later. It's more geared to be a little bit of a track setup, real quick on the acceleration, not so much top end. So if you wanted to go ahead and put maybe a diff out of maybe something a little taller, it would work for a bit of daily driving. But aside from that, this thing is so well put together. Everything looks real good under here. Everything was very, very well maintained. We do have the original cam cover that's going to be included along with a bunch of other goodies like the rear Hikes rack and the rear Hikes computer, an extra set of the dash. This does have a personal steering wheel. It's got a bunch of cool things. And with that being said, let's take it out and drive it because I know that's what you guys want to see. So here we are taking the car out, putting it through its paces. We're going to go under the usual route on 84. We're going to go under 84 here. Everything seems to be in order. Lights work, all the windows work, power mirrors work. Car rides real smooth. Those annex suspension group coilovers really keep the car real flat through the corners. It's a little stiff, but that can be expected. You know, they're full body coilovers, so you are gonna get a little bit more harshness, but like I said, it's to be expected. Everything else works great. Radio turns on nice and loud. The antenna is disconnected because they removed it for a track day that I guess the car had a couple before we owned it. So it is included, it was in the trunk. All you gotta do is get it hooked up and you can get your proper FM, AM radio stations. And we're going out, this is my favorite shot. It's just nice and wide. You can see the entire car. How beautiful it looks. That gray just shines beautifully in the sunlight. Those Work VSXXs in that gold look freaking awesome. And I'm sure you can see that from the shots outside. The car just looks wonderful. And then talking a little bit about the interior, you have this full wood thing going on in the dash. We do have an extra black dash for you if it is something that you want. And we're gonna go over the shorter of the 84 bridges so you can see how the car reacts from the outside from the suspension. And I wanna give you guys a little bit of history on the Skyline. The Skyline is a staple in Japanese automotive culture, dating back to the 60s when it was known as the Prince Skyline and the Hakosuka that everyone knows of the 70s. The vehicle was just so iconic, and eventually it made its way to become the legend that we know now through motorsports. The GTR made it one of the most revered vehicles to ever grace the market. And like we said before, power comes via a 2.5 liter RB25 that in stock form produces about 250 horsepower. This does have a Deutsch Works 340 liter per hour fuel pump along with fuel injectors to match. It probably makes somewhere along the lines of 280, 300 horsepower. And we're gonna go out here back onto 84. We're gonna give you a nice little quick acceleration run so you can see how the car looks and sounds. Pulls strong all the way through the rev range. No weird ticks or anything. No hiccups in the power band. It brakes straight because it does have those upgraded front brakes. And I'm just telling you, it's just such a cool car, man. I can't get over how much I love these. They're great vehicles. This one was well maintained. The body is straight. Interior's in immaculate condition. The previous owner before this did a great job. We have an extensive build list that he provided us, but we also have a lot of videos that he took it out and shows what the car can actually do. And we're going now over the bumps that we always go over so you can see how the car reacts, and we're gonna see it from the inside, and it's 2 sets of bumps. Of course, we're gonna get the first set of smaller bumps, no issues, and there's one big bump. no issues. It just rides through it. Like I said, it does have annex grid suspension coilovers, so it's a little harsher, but that is to be expected. And if this is something you want to put in your garage, give us a call, 954-363-2261, or click on the link below for a full gallery, including underside shots and shipping options. And I'm Emil, see you guys later.